Hey guys, Movie Junkie for Life here, and this is my very early morning review of Logan, which I saw last night at the IMAX, and I wanted to get this out while my thoughts were fresh and I'm not forgetting anything. I also made some notes, so if you guys see me looking down, that's what I'm going to be doing because there's so much about this movie that I want to touch on. So Logan is directed by James Mangold. He's the guy who did the last Wolverine movie, which I quite enjoyed actually, except for the last half of it. But I quite enjoyed that movie. And we have Hugh Jackman once again as Logan, and Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier, and introducing Daphne Keane as Laura, aka X-23. So the story, it's a vast one, but I'll just cover what I can without giving away anything. We're in the future, not too far in the future. I think it's like 2029 or 2026, somewhere around there. And we have an aged Wolverine who is looking after Professor Xavier, whose mind is not what it used to be. They are basically hiding out in Mexico, so to speak, and they come across this young girl named Laura, who may or may not be connected to Logan, and they have to protect her from people who are after her. So the journey ensues. And first of all, I want to get into the visuals of this movie. I love the look of this film. This is not your average X-Men or Avengers type movie. It's not bright, it's not colorful, it's not that kind of movie. It starts off very stark, even very bleak looking, a lot of deserts and that sort of thing, as you will see in the trailer. I'm not giving away anything, I promise. But one of the things I love about this movie is as it goes along, that kind of changes, and I feel like it's a reflection of the growth that this character Logan is experiencing in his relationships with both Professor Xavier and Laura. So I love that change, or that element of these type of kind of bleak looking landscapes into the more colorful foresty type places, you know. Again, not giving away anything, I promise. This is all in the trailer. So the visuals are great. The music choices I really enjoyed in this film, and that's not something I tend to notice. You know, I do notice sound effects, but I'm not so much into songs unless I feel like they really fit into the movie. And I think the choices here really suited the characters. The makeup effects as well. Oh my gosh, whoever did them, kudos, because they made Hugh Jackman look so much older than he actually is. The scarring effects, everything looked so real and natural. And what really hit home for me was the way Patrick Stewart looked as an aged Professor Xavier. They did such a wonderful job of making him look kind of beat down, you know. That twinkle is still kind of there in the background of his eyes, but it's just, I love it, the little liver color, the liver spots and that kind of thing. I think they did such a wonderful job where less is more kind of thing here. So all the visuals I felt worked really well. You know, it wasn't special effects heavy, at least not where I could see. I think maybe they used a lot of practical effects. There was some CGI here and there, of course, but it wasn't overburdened with that, so it never felt too for want of a better term, comic bookish. This felt very grounded, very much like Nolan's Batman, that sort of thing. And it worked really well with this story, because this story that we're going to get into now is not your happy-go-lucky X-Men story. It isn't. It's not that type of film. This is one of the more dramatic X-Men movies that I've seen. This is a lot of drama with action, some really excellent action sequences in between. One of my favorites taking place in a Las Vegas hotel. I won't go into that, but I felt like the audience I was with was also kind of holding their breath while that entire sequence was going down. So the action sequences are there, and they're very rewarding, but the drama is where this movie excels. And huge props to our main cast, Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, and Daphne Keane as Laura. She is amazing. She doesn't even get to say that much, and she emotes so well. It's amazing somebody that young can do so much with so little. And I really enjoyed watching the three of them interact and grow on this journey, and you connected with them. I connected with these characters in a way I have never connected with any superhero character before, you know. So watching the things they go through, the pain and the little bit of hope that they're holding on to, it's gonna get you in the feels, this movie. If you don't feel anything after seeing this film, I don't know what to say, because it really did hit me where it hurt, you know. So wonderful, wonderful story. um Hugh Jackman, I have to spend a little time on this. I have to give him so much praise. I think he finally got to do what he wanted to do, and to go out on such a high note, if he really is planning, like he said, to this is his last film as Wolverine. This is a wonderful, perfect note to go out on after so many attempts. I guess, as they say, the third time is a charm. He's finally gotten that Logan story that he wanted to get. Like his friend Ryan Reynolds, his BF, they push and they push, and they finally got to make the movie they wanted. And yes, this movie being rated R has a huge part to play in the success of this film. Anybody who says otherwise, they are lying. It has a huge part to play. This movie is bloody, it's brutal in the best way, but it suits this character, because this character, it's almost like an old lion that knows he's gonna die soon. But they say old lions are their most vicious when they're about to die. And this character, you know, he's beaten, he's worn, he's bloodied, but there's still our Wolverine there, and it pops up every now and again. He's just let's go, and you just see Wolverine, and it's amazing to watch. So Hugh does an amazing job with this, and I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy he's finally gotten to give us the Logan that he wanted to give us. Now you're probably asking, is it a perfect film? And unfortunately, it's there, it's so close, but there were a few inconsistencies that I want to touch on. Maybe it's nitpicking. Maybe you'll be like, "You're full of shit. This movie's perfect." That's fine, right? But there's a few things that for me stood out. One, there were some plot holes, really obvious ones, later in the middle section that I came across. Maybe I'm watching too much Cinema Sins on YouTube, but there was a couple things that I saw that I felt like if they had left that out, or maybe handled it differently, it wouldn't have been so obvious. I won't get into it because it's very spoilerific. And there is a character here that does not exist in the Old Man Logan story. I mean, they borrowed heavily from that comic book, and I think what they've done to bring it into our world, into our reality, I think they've done a fantastic job. But there is a character here who, with the introduction of that character, on one hand, it was a really kind of cool surprise. On the other hand, I was like, yeah, but this character doesn't exist at all. And I don't even think I wanted that character to exist. Maybe if they had chosen to use a different person in that story, I think it could have worked just as well. Maybe like a Sabretooth. I don't want to get into it, but I just felt like it pulled me out a bit from what was happening. And I did start to do that thing where you're comparing it to the story that you know, which I shouldn't be doing. I should be focused on the movie. So for me, that was a no-no. It didn't quite work, but the good news is that that character is not the focus of this. And that's another thing I loved about this movie. It did pretty much stay on point with the three main characters, and they didn't do a lot of side plots, which I adored. I really loved that they didn't go that way. The next thing for me is the middle half is not as tight as the first half and the third half. Those two halves are very adrenaline pumping. It's perfection. The middle, they have to spend time developing these characters. We have to spend time with these characters so that we will care more. So I get it. I understand completely why, basically the road trip aspect of it, it's not gonna be as, thrilling as the other halves, but it works. But at the same time, maybe the pacing could have been a little bit tighter in some places. So I could be nitpicking, but that was the stuff that I noticed, and I wanted to let you guys know. Maybe you noticed it too. Maybe for you, you didn't really give a shit. It wasn't that big a deal. Overall, Logan is a fantastic film. I cannot wait to own this thing on Blu-ray and just watch it home over and over again and enjoy all the little things that I may have missed. There were a lot of Easter eggs there as well, I think, certain things that I picked up on. And seeing this thing at IMAX, it just, it was an amazing experience. So I'm so happy to say that this is a fantastic addition to our superhero movie world, and I give Logan a 9 out of 10. Highly recommend you check it out, guys, especially if this is going to be the last time we see our titular hero, at least in this form, played by this actor. This is the way for him to, this is the note to go out on. This is how you want your story to be remembered. Logan is just amazing. I've said amazing like a million times in this video, but it really is. So Logan gets a 9 out of 10. And that's going to be it for me, guys. I really hope you get to see this movie, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I do. And until next time, bye-bye.